It has been observed that some people become happier with age, while others find themselves overwhelmed by stress. Perhaps the reason isn't what we commonly assume. Indeed, the key to a serene old age sometimes lies not in increasing activity, but rather in reducing it. That's right, the less actively one approaches certain aspects of life, the more joyful and peaceful their life becomes. This article will explore 5 areas where reducing effort can paradoxically bring more happiness and satisfaction in one's later years. These concepts can transform how we view the later stages of life, helping us embrace them with less anxiety and greater joy. It's worth noting that the last point promises to be one of the most liberating realizations. Readers are encouraged to read to the end to grasp the true factors for improving quality of life with age. The first aspect is that the less one worries about what others think, the happier they become. With age comes the realization that most anxieties related to others' opinions were not worth the stress. In youth, an individual might have spent significant time and energy trying to meet societal expectations, gain approval, or avoid criticism. However, with age, it becomes clear that people are generally too preoccupied with their own concerns to scrutinize others' lives. The more effort one puts into pleasing others, the more emotionally drained they become. Conversely, once free from this burden and adopting a lazy attitude toward such worries, an unprecedented sense of inner peace emerges. Consider this: haven't you noticed older people who simply live by their own rules, unconcerned with fleeting trends, social status, or idle gossip? They choose comfortable clothes, express their thoughts openly, and make decisions based on their own well-being, not on others' opinions. Crucially, they are not burdened by imposed expectations. This freedom is a gift of maturity, and the sooner it's embraced, the more joy it brings. This doesn't advocate for carelessness or neglecting loved ones' feelings. It's about recognizing that endless attempts to conform to other standards are a draining, self-defeating cycle. Imagine the liberation of simply enjoying each day without re-evaluating every choice due to potential reactions from others. This is the source of genuine happiness. The second point indicates that the less actively one tries to force relationships, the happier they feel. In younger years, an individual might have believed that maintaining any connection, be it friendly, familial, or romantic, required continuous effort, even if these relationships brought more tension than satisfaction. People might have actively sought communication, tried to resolve conflicts, and clung to connections even when they felt depleted. However, with time, perspective shifts. The more effort one expends trying to preserve relationships that aren't meant to last, the more exhausted they become. When one lets go of the compulsive need to keep everyone in their life, a remarkable transformation occurs. They begin to truly value those who remain by their side naturally. Instead of wasting energy on those who take them for granted or bring negativity, individuals cherish those who appear in their lives effortlessly. The pursuit of people who don't reciprocate effort ceases, creating a fertile ground for genuine, sincere connections to flourish. Consider, haven't you noticed that some of the most peaceful older people aren't those surrounded by the most acquaintances, but rather those surrounded by the right, truly close individuals? They don't spend precious time on superficial connections or one-sided attempts. Instead, they enjoy the company of those who show genuine care and attention. When one stops overexerting themselves just to keep certain relationships afloat, they realize how much easier life becomes. This doesn't mean pushing people away or completely avoiding connections. It's simply an acknowledgement that not all relationships are meant to last forever, and that is perfectly normal. Truly close people will stay, and you won't have to exhaust yourself proving your worth to them. The moment one becomes lazy about forcibly maintaining relationships is the moment they free up space for connections that truly bring happiness and satisfaction. The third aspect is that the less actively one tries to change others, the happier they become. For much of their life, an individual might have felt responsible for guiding others, offering advice, correcting their mistakes, or trying to make them see the world from their perspective. Perhaps they wished their children would make wiser decisions, friends would be more prudent, or even their spouse would change certain habits. However, there's a harsh truth that only becomes apparent with age: people don't change unless they want to. The more pressure applied, the stronger the resistance encountered, and ultimately, all these efforts only exhaust the individual. At some point, the realization dawns that trying to change others is like shouting into the wind. It drains energy but yields no results. One can offer advice, support, and share their viewpoint, but if someone isn't ready for change, they simply won't change. And once this is accepted, life becomes significantly easier. One begins to focus on what is truly within their control, their own choices, their own reactions, and their own peace of mind. Think about the people in your life who caused the most frustration. Perhaps you tried to convince them to take better care of their health, be more responsible, or act differently. And perhaps, despite all your efforts, nothing changed. But the moment you stop carrying that burden, a profound sense of freedom follows. You are no longer disappointed by things you cannot fix. The happiest people in old age are those who grasp this simple fact: everyone is on their own life journey. You cannot impose wisdom on anyone, nor can you accelerate their lessons. You can only lead by example and allow people to come to their own realizations in their own time. The moment one stops trying to change others is the moment they reclaim their own happiness. The fourth point states, the less actively one chases after those who don't value them, the happier they become. There comes a time in life when one realizes that not everyone is meant to stay. Friendships may fade, relationships change, and family members drift apart. Perhaps for years, one was always the first to initiate contact, make plans, or try to hold all connections together. However, with time, a clear understanding emerges. If you have to chase someone just to keep them in your life, then that person was never truly there to begin with. In youth, there's often a belief that effort alone can sustain relationships. It's assumed that if you just try harder, call more often, visit more, give more, people will reciprocate. But life experience teaches otherwise. People who genuinely care will make an effort themselves. They will call, check in, and show up without prompting. Those who don't, well, they were already slipping away long before you noticed.
When one stops chasing, they gain something invaluable: peace.
They are no longer tied to one-sided relationships that drain them. They no longer carry the burden of wondering why someone doesn't make time for them. Instead, they invest their energy where it truly matters, in the people who choose to be in their life without coercion. Some people will always put themselves first, some will only remember you when they need something, and some will take your kindness for granted. But when the chasing stops, something beautiful happens. Truly close people remain. Those who value, respect, and genuinely enjoy your company will always be there. And those who drift away, they were never meant to be held onto. The fifth aspect is that the less actively one tries to control everything, the happier they become. There's a certain freedom that comes with realizing not everything is within your power to fix, manage, or worry about. In youth, one might have spent years trying to control every little detail, their career, relationships, even how others perceive them. But with age comes the understanding that no matter how much effort is exerted, some things will always be beyond one's control. And this isn't a bad thing. In fact, the less one tries to control, the happier they become. Consider how much time and energy are spent trying to control outcomes that were never truly within one's sphere of influence. You might plan every detail of an event, yet things still don't go as planned. You try to make a loved one see things from your perspective, only to realize they have their own mind and unique viewpoint. You worry about what might happen in the future, but ultimately understand that worry never actually changes anything. The truth is, control is an illusion, and the sooner one accepts this fact, the easier life becomes. One of the most important lessons that comes with age is the ability to let go of expectations, to let go of past regrets, to let go of the idea that you are responsible for everything being perfect. The truth is, perfection doesn't exist, and the more effort you put into forcing life to conform to a certain shape, the more disappointment you create for yourself. It's no coincidence that some of the happiest older people you meet are also the most relaxed. They have learned to accept life as it is, instead of constantly trying to fight it. They don't waste energy on things they cannot change, and they don't let minor inconveniences ruin their day. They understand that true happiness is not in controlling life, but in accepting it. When one stops trying to control everything, they finally get to experience the joy of simply being. They begin to appreciate the present moment, instead of constantly thinking about what's next. They stop getting upset when something doesn't go their way and start finding peace in the knowledge that everything unfolds exactly as it should. And best of all, they can finally breathe freely. Ultimately, happiness in old age isn't about working harder, striving to do more, or constantly pushing oneself to new achievements. It's about knowing where to let go, where to slow down, and where to allow life to take its natural course. The truth is, the less actively one approaches certain things, excessive obligations, worry, trying to impress everyone, pleasing everyone, and controlling absolutely everything, the more peaceful and fulfilling their life becomes. There is a wisdom that only comes with time, and one of the greatest lessons is that happiness isn't about adding something new to your life, but about letting go of what no longer serves you. When one frees themselves from unnecessary stress, inflated expectations, and burdensome obligations, they make space for what truly matters. They find joy in simple moments, begin to appreciate everyday life, and gain a deeper sense of peace that doesn't depend on external approval or circumstances. So, everyone should ask themselves, which of these areas are they still holding on to? Are they taking on too many obligations? Worrying about things they can't change? Still trying to meet others' expectations instead of living for themselves? Perhaps it's time to step back, take a deep breath, and allow yourself to be a little lazier, at least in the aspects that matter most for true well-being.